Hey, we're here with another episode of Local Newsletter Insider. Today, I am here with Shane Brady out of Canada, and I'm excited to have him because he has got some really cool stuff going with multiple newsletters. His time to get these things written is much less than mine. I'm very excited about that. So stoked to have you here, Shane.
Thanks, TJ. I'm excited to be on. I've seen a few episodes, and I'm loving the pod so far. So
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. So give everyone a quick introduction. You know, kind of your background, how you stumbled into this, and maybe some high level numbers and where you're at.
yeah, for sure. Again, my name's Shane. I operate a local newsletter out of Belleville, Ontario. It's a tiny little town of 55,000 people, right in between Toronto and Ottawa, our capital. And been running that for about 8 months. Got that up to about 10,000 subscribers. And just 2 months ago, I launched my second local newsletter in the town adjacent to us, Kingston, Ontario. And we're sitting just under 3,000. By the end of the day, we'll be at 3,000 subscribers for that one. So 13,000 total, call it. And it's been a grind, man. But it's good. I think we got a good little niche here, and our communities are loving it so far. So
yeah, that's awesome. Okay. So yeah, so many questions here. Number one, you have 8,000. Let's say the first one, or no, you say 10 on the first one.
yeah.
Okay. So nine. Okay. But the town's only 50 some thousand. So that's like actually percentage wise, that's really good.
Yeah, when I broke it down the other day, because like when you do the population of your city, like it actually includes like children too. So like I actually broke it down to like reading level, I called it. So like the age of 25 plus, it's actually like 25% of the people.
That's crazy.
Which is kind of cool when you break it down like that. But there's a lot of people from we have a rural, like we're very rural, like Belleville's like the town. It's a very blue collar town. But there's another couple 100,000 people when you get into like the further radius. But most of the people from like that I've targeted, I only did 15 miles on Facebook ads. So
Okay.
yeah.
Nice. Okay. How'd you get into this? What caused you to want to do this?
Well, so we actually, the first one I've ever seen of these local type of newsletters was a media outlet in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. They're called The Coast, and they've been running a local newsletter for, I want to say, at least 7 or 8 years, and they crush it. I had heard about them, and then I forgot about it, and then I think a similar story to many people's is the Ryan Snedden podcast. Came through, and I finally just said I've had enough of listening to this podcast over and over again. I'm just going to start this today, and that was 8 months ago, and now we're here.
So you only learned about this basically in the last 12 months?
Basically, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. So tell me, let's go over some of the basics. So number one, you're using Beehive, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. And tell me about acquisition. How'd you get so many subs and so quickly?
All Facebook ads, my man. It's nothing different than anybody else. I did organic for about, I want to say 48 hours of trying to pump my shit on, can I swear on here? I don't know. Anyway, pump my stuff on Reddit and Facebook groups. And I just had enough of getting the admin canceling my things. And I just went straight into Facebook ads after that. Yeah.
No, that makes a ton of sense. What would you say your average cost of acquisition has been?
For the one that's kind of matured in the smaller market, BOQ, I would say at the end of the day it was about 89 cents to get the 10,000 per cost per. In the newer city, that's a lot bigger. It's about 3 times the size. We're sitting at about 33 cents subscribers so far.
Yeah.
But like what I noticed is eventually you're going to get all that low hanging fruit. The first couple thousand were like it was a similar number for the Belleville, call it. But once you get all those people that just want to click on everything, that quickly went up. I see a lot of really low numbers out there. I don't know how they're getting them. I'd love to talk to a few people, but I noticed once I hit about 5,000, it got a lot harder to get people. It got closer to $1.
Yeah, and is that Canadian? So
yeah, Canadian. Yeah.
I don't even know what the
about
rate
10
is.
cents American.
yeah. Like the peso, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, again, you've kind of done very similar to me, right? So essentially, the cost is quite low at the beginning, and then it slowly increases because you've knocked out the low hanging fruit. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Okay, so tell me. Well, let's just dive into what I'm already super interested that you mentioned. You said it's taking you an average of an hour to write the newsletter. Well, actually, so you're doing it 3 days a week. Is that right?
Yeah, we do 3 a week. Yeah,
Okay. Do you do three? You do 3 week for both?
for both. Yeah,
So you're
yeah.
doing six.
I don't do both of them. I have a partner in Kingston, and she does the three there, and I do the three here.
Oh, okay. Well, you know
Yeah.
what? Before we go in, tell me about that then, because I have some partners too. So tell me, how does that work?
Yeah, so she found out about mine and started following it from Kingston, the other city, and she actually just emailed me the one day and said I'm interested in starting this where I live, and we chatted, and I was kind of going through a little bit of the startup and the costs and the monthly cost for Beehive and stuff, and she basically said like she wasn't interested in putting that kind of up front. So I won't get into like the numbers and everything, but we worked out a deal like where we're gonna have an ad share, an ad revenue share model. So she's writing right now, but once we start getting advertising, we're gonna split the cost or split the revenue.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
that'll come when it is. But like, she's kind of like a unicorn. Like she's just cool to do this for free. Right now, she's just super interested in running a local newsletter, and then when the ad revenue comes through, we're gonna split it.
Nice.
And yeah, I won't get into like the whole numbers and everything.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm probably gonna show her this, and I don't know if she's
Yeah, yeah.
comfortable with that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
she's amazing. She worked in marketing and communications, and she's written newsletters for some other organizations. So she kind of
Oh,
took
okay.
it like that, and she was
Yeah.
just it was her like
Yeah, that's
smoking-
when you can find the right people to do this kind of thing to partner with in whatever capacity. That's awesome.
yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Actually, before we go over the how you write the newsletters, let's talk about ads real quick. Everybody's curious. So you have what I consider you're at scale, right? I mean, geez, you got 25% of town. That's definitely scale, at least for the first one. So are you monetizing? How do you think about monetizing? Where are you at on that?
Yeah, so strictly just paid ads in our newsletter monetization right now. I've had a couple social media posts ever paid, but honestly, my social media is not at the point where it was worth any money. So I'm just focusing solely on ads right now. We
Okay.
are actually in BOQ today. We are 90% full of our ad slots for the next 6 months.
Wow.
We have probably too many ads per newsletter. I have three like mini signature ads, and then I have a banner ad at the bottom. We're getting a few complaints from our subscribers that it's getting a little bit too much, so we might have to just increase the price of the ads and then take out a slot. But right now, I only have one of the banner ads left on Fridays to sell. So
Yeah. So this is okay. We need to dig into this. How are you getting these sales? What's going on here? This is really good.
So what I did was after my first newsletter, I quickly realized that I am never going to send a newsletter without an ad ever again. And I just knew I come from a sales and marketing background, so I kind of understand that. Understood that space before. So I said to myself, if I see a newsletter over and over again with no ads, I'm never going to advertise in it because obviously it's not very sought after. So I basically went to my three friends who kind of run trade businesses, and I just gave them free ads. And it was funny. So I ran 2 or 3 of those, and then I had 2 inbounds come in. And so on my 4th newsletter, I had a paid ad, and I have not had a newsletter go out with a paid ad since. And so that's how that kind of started. But once I had about 5,000 subscribers, I had inbounds coming in. I sold some ads to some customers and some places I probably wouldn't again. I was kind of starting to get a little uneasy about not having the money coming in. So I just kind of sold them to whoever. I would not ever do that again. I would wait it out. But I didn't have the time to do outbound. And so there was a time there I said, okay, I have to floor it, and I have to go and I have to figure out some really, really big advertisers. And when it really, really flipped was I actually got our professional hockey team in town to advertise with us.
Nice.
So when people saw that, like, that was kind of like the aha moment for a lot of these other businesses. And then, man, I sent that email out at 6 a.m. and I went for breakfast, and I came back, grabbed my coffee, and sat down. And I kid you not, I had about 15 inbound advertising requests in my inbox. And that was kind of the start for everything. Now there's a little bit more focus on certain industries, and we're revamping how we sell our sponsorships as we go. But Yeah, I don't know if that answered your question, but that's kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
how.
No, I mean, so just stepping back, is all you're not doing any outbound. It's all inbound.
Not anymore, all
Wow.
inbound.
Can you again feel free not to if you don't want to, but is there any numbers you can give us as far as like maybe what an average ad costs or what an average, monthly or total people are spending? Any sort of numbers on like what people are paying or how much you're generating?
Yeah, so I try to do around $50 CPM. That's what my goal was. I've heard some a lot higher in the industry. I live in a very blue collar town. Those $70, $80 CPMs, they're just not going to fly here, unfortunately. So for me, it was $50 CPM. But every advertiser is not the same, and
Mm.
I truthfully feel like that some people could and should pay more. And I also think that there's some value there in certain different slots to have some people that maybe can't afford the $50 CPM, but can afford other things. And we're working on other ways to get those people in. But we do it around there. I'm actually trying to work on like a monthly subscription model where like it's a certain amount a month, like maybe $500 or $600 a month. Um, but yeah, I don't know if
What would you
that.
do for that? That's interesting. What are you thinking they would get for doing subscription?
So I don't know yet, but like I'm trying to like bundle it together where you get a certain amount of like Instagram or social media posts with it, and then you also get your newsletter ad slot. But I think there's something to be said about like the CPM model. When I got into it with these local businesses, they didn't understand it,
Yeah.
and then when I over explained it, that got stuck in their heads. Like, what if you get another 1,000 subscribers? Are you going to charge me more? And like, what if you lose 500? And then I was like, I'm not
Yeah.
even going to get into the CPM conversation anymore with some of these
Mm-hmm.
local businesses. It's just a subscription model. Like we sit around 10,000 subscribers a month. It's $500 a month. Are you in or are you out?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then
Interesting.
that'll allow me to consistently know that that's my revenue every month for the amount of subscribers or the amount of advertisers I have.
Yeah. No, that's so true that you have to understand your market. And if you're going national or big chains, big businesses, they know every little detail. They're going to question you on your CPMS and your open rates and your click rate. You have to understand your market for better or worse. It's the exact opposite in local, right? They don't know anything, and you're actually making it worse bringing it up because when people get confused, they want to do nothing, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
It made the conversations confusing. People, like, you could see the blank stare come across, and it was just like, all right, let's simplify this, man. Like,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah. Totally. Cool. Okay. So tell me about your process for creation.
Like for creating the newsletter.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
creating them in about an hour or whatever it is you're doing. I'm super curious on how you're doing this.
Yeah. So, I'll tell you about, maybe I'll back up to like where the problem came and how I found the
Yeah.
solution.
Say the problem first. Yeah.
So when I was writing these, I was originally at the start, I was like, I picked like 50 different like websites basically that all had consistent information coming out, whether that was news, our local bars and restaurants, Instagrams and social medias. There were a whole bunch of different like our conservation, a bunch of government resources stuff that have press releases, and I was spending like, I don't know, man. I want to say the better part of like 3 or 4 hours just going through those, like, and it was just so scattered looking through all these and pulling them in. And I had a Google Forms tracker, and it was like kind of crazy. So anyway, I got smarter as I got along. I finally like got like the RSS.app feed, and I started putting my sources that I went to more often than not into the RSS feed. Um, and then what really actually bundled things down together to make this like the hour process recently was I it's kind of a duct tape together solution, but basically the RSS feed now feeds into my Slack app. So it kind of creates a feed for me in Slack. And from there, I go in and pick either what I do or don't want to. I put those things into AI, like ChatGPT. I put the links in the articles of like, let's say the top 20 things that I might put into my newsletter. But what I've done is I took all my insights from Beehive and I baked them into my ChatGPT customized prompts. And so I asked ChatGPT that based off my subscriber and reader engagement, what should I put in from all of these different sources? Because I'm not going to put 40 different stories in, even though there might be from that day. And
Mm-hmm.
how actually ChatGPT has gotten so good at like helping me curate my content based off what my subscribers click on. that it will actually like shoot me back maybe 5 to 10 of those different sources of information that I should put in. Then from there, it actually auto summarizes everything for me, so I can quickly read what these articles are about instead of some of them are like 2-3 thousand words. And then from there, I actually just am able to copy and paste those into my template, and then I put my personal touch on everything. So no one's going to read a ChatGPT scripted, summarization of a press release, but that's when my locality comes in, and I'm able to like put the local spin on all those things. That, and we actually have an event calendar, which has saved my life. I would invite anybody who has the money to go and get an event calendar, because we were able to take all of the feeds from the events that I was curating from before and put them into my calendar. And I basically just go in and curate the events that I want into our format and copy and paste those back into my newsletter. So I don't know if that was kind of a lot there. So yeah, like
yeah. Well, no, I mean, it sounds really good. I guess I really want to dive into this calendar thing because I need to do that myself. I've seen different kinds of calendars people have, and pros and cons to everything. I want to dig more into what you're doing there. But even the beginning part is all those steps that you were talking about. Like, okay, I understand the RSS feed has all the information. Are you manually saying, okay, I'm taking that information, somehow copy pasting all that, and then putting in a ChatGPT, and then whatever ChatGPT spits out, then are you copy pasting that? Like, is that kind of the process, or do you have something automated in some way?
So all of that is basically like the RSS to Slack is automated.
Oh, that's right, Slack. Okay.
Then I guess the automation within that is being able to copy and paste all of the articles and then put them into ChatGPT, and it like kind of curating like what to put in. Like it's kind of just like a step that's made it easy for me to like cut out like the guesswork of like, should I put this in? That was always what I do, because we do news, we do sports, we do events, we do press releases, community, charity, all that stuff. So I wanted to see what was important to people really quickly without having to go through all that. So that's the automation feature in it. Now, what I talked to you about before is will completely automate everything, but we'll chat about that after. But yeah, so that's the manual part. It is copy and paste at this point, but
yeah. But it's still, even copy and paste still is way less than trying to just actually manually do every single step, right? So it's still super valuable.
Yeah. It's the use of the AI to do that. Like I was very skeptical of it, because it's the reason these local newsletters work, in my belief, is that it's manually curated content from a local. But there's enough data, man. After 6 months of you putting out 3 posts a week, you got thousands of click reports and data points in Beehive. If you put that into your ChatGPT and you paid for the plus, it's pretty damn good.
How are you getting? So, because I'm not doing this yet, how are you getting? How is ChatGPT knowing what's in Beehive? I mean, are you going and copying, pasting every single post and like adding it into knowledge base, or how does it know what's in your Beehive?
So you can pull like an Excel file of your click report on Beehive.
Okay.
I just uploaded that as a file into ChatGPT, and then there's a way you can make custom GPTs on ChatGPT, and so it saved that in my memory, and so it kind of remembers like what different, and then like we segmented it into all of the different like categories that I report on or put in my newsletter. So like we have local, and then community, and then sports. So it was able to kind of recognize most of them, like what like the article is about, based off the link, diving into like the contents of the links. And I don't know what it does in the background, but
yeah. So I think dude, I had not even thought about this idea. So by giving it the click report, the Excel, that has the link to the article, and then or event or whatever it is, and ChatGPT is able to review that data. Because I was going to say, just that somebody clicked on something, how much value is that? It's because it can see what the content was that they clicked on and start. Oh, dude, that is. I literally am writing this down right now because I hadn't thought about that. Okay.
Yeah, man, it was so cool when I did it. Like I like flicked the deep research component on, and I told it to like dive deep into the links and like do the whole thing, and it took like 25-30 minutes, and then it spat out like this chart to me of like what the hottest topics, and it actually surprised me, some of the things that it said that like I had the most clicks on over the past half of a year when I did it. Like food and drink and food reviews and stuff like that. Things that I even actually took out at one point. And then I have since brought them back because they were apparently like hot items. So
Dude, I mean, this is such a, I'm so glad you said that. I'm literally going to do this when we get off. Uh, just like anything, I will look at the click report, right? I go, but what do? I just kind of like glance at it. Oh, okay. This got clicked. Oh, good. And then like, my brain is not storing every single one of these and then analyzing it and then comparing it to the past 6 weeks worth of like that is what AI can do that just no regular person can do. I mean, even if you were paid to do that, it would be insanely difficult if you were doing it 8 hours a day, right? So
crazy.
this is such a good idea. I love that. Yeah, and then of course, ChatGPT just updated their memory function, so I don't even know. I haven't dug in yet. They did this yesterday or day before how it works, but it sounded like you actually don't have to do anything. So it will just do everything you just said automatically. You just got to input the reports and explain what its job is, and that's it. And it will
Yeah.
remember automatically.
Yeah, it has been. It's been really accurate and like really good.
Yeah. And do
Not
you
like
keep it
not
all? Oh, go ahead.
not to continue on this path, but like
Yeah.
one thing I did notice too is like my churn rate was getting higher as I got more subscribers because
Yep.
it was getting such a broader audience, and
Yep.
I was not speaking to everybody. And so once I had them curate my content, I said, I'm going to start this on Monday and I'm going to do this 3 times and I'm going to let them kind of like show me the way of like what content to put. Now, they don't get it all right. You got to use their discretion sometimes. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that like everyone in town is going to care about this, even if ChatGPT did. So you
Yeah.
got to
Yeah.
be like, I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
just completely rely on them. But
Yeah.
my churn rate got so much better, like from my
Mm.
unsubscribers, like and then my feedback got so much better. I actually had a few comments of like, I read this top to bottom and you literally nailed everything that I wanted to know in this newsletter. Like that was an exact comment from a subscriber.
Wow.
It was crazy. I was like, they're getting a little too smart over there at
Yeah.
OpenAI.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So,
that's a whole other topic of, I mean, it's awesome for us now, and I'm going to start doing exactly what you're doing. But like with everything AI related, right? Is there a point where it gets so good that it's like, who the hell are you, TJ and Shane? We don't need you. I don't think that's
100%.
going to happen. I have, talked about this on the last couple episodes with people, but it's a little scary. Uh, okay. So this is really cool. So you're doing all this automation. It's only taking you an hour. You're making at least a decent amount of money because you've got basically sold out of ads. Like that is killer. Um, the one downside though, or tell me how you think about this. So if you're practically sold out of ads, you've already said you're kind of tapped out on space for ads. Normally the answer, like in a magazine or whatever, would be add extra pages. Obviously we cannot do that, right?
Yeah.
How do you think about growing this thing? How do you think about growing it financially so you could make more money? And also maybe on a similar vein, how do you think about growing the brand? And or do you think about that at all?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the we do 3 days a week. My immediate thought
I do
is
more.
to add days.
You could, yeah.
That comes with subscriber turnover and churn. It also
Yep.
adds more work for me.
Yep.
And it also, I don't know that in a town of 56,000 people that there's much more content. I know that like Naptown Scoop, they do 5 days a week and they're in an even smaller town than me. But blue collar town, man, like it's like it's a bit different. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's just not that much news. So then your second thing is expanding the brand like you're doing with Leander Scoop.
Mm-hmm.
So that is exactly where I got to at one point with like my original newsletter, and that's why there's a second one now. Is that I made that leap. So
Mm-hmm.
my plan is to kind of branch out into more of these underserviced, smaller. I don't even want to say medium to large size markets. I want to say small to medium sized markets. I think I've cut out a little niche in my part of Ontario, Canada, where we're doing this. And there's something to be said about those like really kind of like neighborhoody kind of approaches. And it's kind of fun because if I was to do this in a town of 500,000, let's say, like there's a lot of news and stuff going on to pick
Mm-hmm.
through. Like there's no way
Yeah.
you're doing that in an hour, even if you have all that automation.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much going on. That's hundreds of restaurants to follow just to do restaurant updates. In these smaller like neighborhoods and towns, I find you can engulf everything, and it's a lot easier to actually take the content. But I don't know if you agree or not. But
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's definitely true. I mean this is one of the angles that I know some people are talking about, or some people have taken, and some are thinking about, including me. I'm thinking about this too in my old hometown. Is to your point, like what I do, my 3 cities that I cover per newsletter is about say 200,000 people. There is so much information. We are truly just curating call it 5% of what's going on or less, obviously, for restaurants and whatever. So it is just, hey, a million things are going on. Here's the 5% or 2% of what you actually care about. But if you're in a smaller town, like the town where I grew up is, say, 30,000, there's an angle where you can actually become the entire media organization in that town. Like you cover every single thing. Like I can't cover high school sports. Why? Because I don't know how many high schools are in my area, but it's probably 10 to 15, right? It wouldn't make sense to cover high school because 90% plus of my readers don't care about that high school. So it doesn't make sense, really.
Yeah.
But if you cover one town of 30,000 and there's one high school and there's one police department and there's one city council and there's one everything, you can actually cover the whole thing, like the way a traditional old school media company would have covered everything in town, right? Because they would have had their beats. Hey, you're on the crime beat, you're on the government beat, you're on the high school sports beat, right? And you can like do that. Now, again, how you do that, let's just say obviously AI is a big part of it. And that's just a different angle for the smaller towns. What do you think about that idea?
I totally agree. Yeah. And there's definitely a way you can do that. And there's like, I don't know. This is a whole other conversation, but like, I think there's even a way for people like ourselves who are kind of trying to branch out brands or just like have gone through the trenches of doing this local newsletter and all of that knowledge in the back of your head of how to get this done. Like I've even thought about going to the neighboring town's local media and going like, I can get this started for you and I could actually probably operate it for you or help in some way. And you could have a local newsletter and maybe I'm not running it. Maybe one of their people is, but like, it's almost like the newsletter toolkit in a box for them type thing. Like you could give it to them and maybe it's a consultation fee or something. I don't know, but I have a couple media outlets in my town and they weren't doing email newsletters before. And even they've approached me and been like, what you're doing is really cool. Like, how do you do it? So you live in that space and maybe you're naive to the fact that you think it might be easy to start, but a lot of them don't get it that way.
No, dude, this is a really good idea what you just said, because I've been thinking at a similar but different angle of the angle that I'm taking right now with my partners and people I'm wanting to partner with are people like us, or, for me, it's more like local business owners, multi 6-figure or 7-figure business owners who see the value of having the audience in their town to primarily pitch their own business, right? Become the known person. Everybody knows you and your business. So then they want to be a customer to your business, and then ad revenue being secondary. And that's the angle that I'm taking and my two partners have now, and they're excited and got some more on the hook that I'm kind of talking with to do that. But your angle is, in a way, it's different, maybe better or worse, depending how you look at it, of going to a media company, small ones that already exist, already have revenue. And you're just saying, hey, really what we're talking about is, hey, can I come update your technology so that you get better engagement? Now it's obviously more than that, but that's the simple pitch of, hey, you're doing things like that made sense in 2007. It's 2025. Here's the new way to do it. You could go spend a year and hire somebody at $80,000 to figure this out for you, or you can pay me $750 a month and I'll teach you everything you need to know. And I'll jump on 2 calls a month to walk you through what you need to do and any problems you have, and I'll fix it for you. Basically a consulting model, a retainer consulting model.
Yeah.
For companies that already exist and already have money. And dude, that's a really good idea. Because to your point, most companies, either they like this, they don't have a newsletter at all, or they do and it's so bad nobody reads it because it's just not created the way guys like us are creating them, that are actually engaging in and of themselves. It's more either so ugly or it's self-promotion, right?
Yeah.
And
it's the one that like I know one of the outlets does here. It's just an RSS feed of the posts that they did that
that's
day.
Right. Exactly.
And I mean, I don't know. It would be so easy for them to just like reconfigure that into a local newsletter. Like it's really not.
But it's not. Well, here's the thing though. Like you're right. It would be easy for you, but that's because you have almost a year's worth of knowledge built up, to your point, right? And this goes for me as well. I'm one of the worst at this, of just thinking like, oh yeah, you just sign up for Beehive. Like I'm not that much smarter than you. And then you see somebody who can't even grasp the concept, much less then you get into the technology and systems like Beehive, these systems, yeah, we've gotten the hang of it. I remember my first time trying to use Beehive and I was very overwhelmed. And that comes from somebody who I've used a lot of technology. Imagine these normal small town people who are not used to technology. I mean,
That's
the
very true.
overwhelm for them is incredible. And so to just have it be done for you, I mean, this is so common in the business world. Like, yeah, you could just do it yourself or just pay me and I'll do it for you and it'll be done right away. It's worth it to a company with money to do that. That
Yeah,
is a really
absolutely
interesting
true.
idea. I actually think I might start trying that. That's actually something I'm thinking I might need to see if that's a better angle, because my model is harder because now I got to find these entrepreneurs. I got to make sure they have the right mindset. It's going to be a long-term game. They have to have a plan. They have to be able to afford it. They have to be engaged and excited. You know, there's a lot of, it takes a very specific type of person to want to do this. In this case, you solve all that problem. They should be doing it right now and they have the money and they
Yeah.
have the back end. So I
And
love that, man.
they have the network too, right? Like they're a radio
The
station, like a
network.
newspaper. Just throw it on your website, send it, email it to your already established email list. But you're right,
Yeah.
like in like what you just hit on. I don't know if we were talking before the pod. I forget when we even started, but like when I found the person to do the second city,
Yeah.
like I looked out that she was just engaged enough in her community that she wanted to do, like she would
Mhm.
basically do this for free is what she was offering at the time, which is very lucky for both of us that she wants to do that, and I can help her get some ad revenue. But like you said, when I looked at another city, when I was running through the numbers, like it's like you have to find that perfect person, um, or
Mhm.
like it's really like you're kind of left out in the cold because even if you do find that person, let's say, and you run those Facebook ads and you get $10,000 of those ads out there, and you've hit that magic number of 10,000 subscribers, and then that person goes, "Hey, I don't really like this anymore. I don't have the time. I moved. I had a baby.
Yep.
I whatever. I got a new job. Then what?"
Totally. Yes. That becomes an issue. Luckily, I'm not dealing with that yet because I kind of mostly just started with my partners, but it's something we
Yeah.
both talked about in advance, and I know both of them personally, and I like them, and so
Yeah.
we'll just
I'm,
figure it out. But that's probably not the best the best strategy.
I'm just
Yeah.
nervous about that with like the woman I'm working with. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you go anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah. No. This is really really good stuff.